universal health care. And an example is NHIF, whereby people are accommodated for in the health sector, where anyone can get treatment almost as close to freely compared to those who do not have any coverage as such.
Kina mama wenye wanajifungua wanasaidika vizuri sana. Kwanza ni vile wanajifungua free.
Mi kama kwangu mi sijajaza hiyo kitu, cause mi mwenyewe nakosa hizo 5 kitu, but kama ingekuwa imerudi chini kama 200 hivi 250, at least kila mtu angekuwa anaishikia.
Watu wako registered but haziwasaidii. Watu wanalipa tu lakini haziwasaidii. Alafu unaona kama sasa hiyo NHIF ukikosa kulipa mwezi moja hauko covered, na umekuwa ukilipa labda 1 year na hujagonjeka. So juu umekosa mwezi moja na ukagonjeka hiyo mwezi umekosa, so why hawakusaidii? Another thing, hizi hospitali zetu mingi huku haziruhusu hiyo NHIF.
In our dispensaries and health centers we don't charge anything. So you come there, you are seen, you go home. We have started a very rigorous process of ensuring that our people register with NHIF. In this sense, what we are telling people is that if you have more than 20 mbusis, can you give out 1 mbuzi, which is around 6,000, for you to ensure that your family is cushioned with the cost. We have been having a lot of issues when it comes to medical bills, whereby every now and then. But right now we have seen is that it is coming down.
Universal health coverage is a promise that has been given to the people of this country by the government. The government aims to achieve universal health coverage in the next 5 years.
If someone needs a healthcare service, they should be able to access it of good quality without getting into any financial problems.
NHIF is not UHC. UHC is not NHIF. NHIF could be a component of UHC. So universal health coverage is about access. Access has many components, whether it's physical access, whether it's financial access, whether it's cultural and social access. Those are the issues of access that we're talking about, that you can access health care. So when you're talking about a country achieving universal health coverage, it's that everybody is in. Not those who pay, not those in the formal sector, not the poor only, not the vulnerable only, everybody. So the universality here is that everybody is in. And what we're talking about then in terms of who's insured, and we're progressively moving this way. So when we start with free maternity services, that's only the pregnant women who are in, or women of reproductive age group. Yes? And then if you talk about free services for children who are under 5, that's also another subsection of the population. So we are progressively moving this way towards 100%. That you're able to cover the population that you have as adequately as possible. So these are the types of services covered. And then the last dimension is how much do you need to pay from your pocket for these services. And this dimension, you want it to be as low as possible. That at the point of care, you pay as little as possible.
When we have state budget transfers, then this link between contributions and entitlement is being weakened. And it starts with having a defined group of people that are entitled for this subsidization. They're either being targeted or in whatever way identified. So let's go into the policy choices on the key institutional design aspects and look at the implications for equity. So when it comes to the definition of eligible population groups, the real question is who's considered to be vulnerable. So who's defined as being eligible? And of course, countries have various choices. They can say we take those ones that are officially registered as unemployed, or a country could say, well, everybody outside the formal sector, or we take a specific, we take the poorest of the poor, the 10% poorest, or other countries have said we take the bottom 20% of the population in terms of their income. So there are various ways of defining who is eligible for subsidization.
That when you access a healthcare service, it should not interfere with your economic situation. So you shouldn't have to, for example, sell your assets. You shouldn't have to, for example, forego your food You shouldn't have to, for example, forego paying school fees because you have to pay for healthcare services. So if you need a healthcare service, it should be available, it should be of good quality, you should be able to access it and utilize it, and you should not get into financial problems. That's what universal health coverage is.
The health services that you access must be of sufficient quality. So quality has many, many components, but this has to be balanced out, yes? So there are the structural components, there's a process components, and there's an outcome component to quality.
When we're looking at countries that have health insurance, so national health insurance or social health insurance, as it's maybe called when we look explicitly at the formal sector. No country, in fact, has achieved or has, really substantially progressed towards universal health coverage with the health insurance system without state budget transfers. Question is, normally it's the local authorities that are actually that are in charge of enrolling the eligible population groups. So when at the same time they also have to actually provide the budget transfers from their local budget, do they have the same strong incentive to actually enroll these eligible population groups? Final aspect is to look at the calculation logic to determine the amount that is being transferred per eligible subsidized person. There are various ways. One could use just a per capita formula, linked to the sort of average expenditures. Other countries have chosen a percentage of the overall health budget, or they have chosen a percentage of the health insurance scheme's revenues. Or in other countries, it's again, basically the result of negotiations. Or one could take, let's say, the minimum, other countries have chosen the minimum wage and then have applied the same contribution percentage to that minimum wage. In fact, most countries have decided to provide full subsidization and combine it with mandatory participation. So that means that the eligible people, vulnerable population groups, receive full subsidization. They don't have to make a contribution or a share of a contribution from their side. And it's not voluntary to join, but it's mandatory. There remain, of course, key challenges also with this type of health finance. Now, the first question is about the targeting method. For example, in a number of countries, the non-registered unemployed would fall through, or for example, ethnic minority groups or also migrants. Another frequent challenge is that the funds to offer the defined benefit package are still insufficient for low income. There are always some inefficiencies in the provider payment methods and also in the design of the benefit package. Then last not least, of course, there remain weaknesses in service delivery, and that again may undermine the promise of explicit entitlement to a benefit package.
For example, access to health. There are people, even in some slums, you go for 2 kilometers, you get a health center. But in some places, you go for 70 kilometers.
Lazima CRA ifanye actual costing. Ni fedha ngapi zinahitajika kuprovide maybe health services in Elgeyo Marakwet. Ukiangalia sahi labda kaunti zetu ni less than 1% kwa sababu ile costing ama hawakufanya actual costing kujua ni fedha ngapi zinahitajika kuweza kutoa huduma fulani.
But si mashinani watu nabaki hatuna. Kama ni health, kama ni hosi unaenda unaona hizo hospitali dogo za serikali. Pale hivi ukiingia unaandikwa dawa enda nje, laboratory za zingine unaambiwa enda nje. When
you look at the health sector, yes, the county is actually putting much resources, especially in health. When you look at it very critically, you find that it has not really met its own standards. The county is purchasing enough drugs, but people are being sent out to go and purchase drugs, of which you find that that's another big challenge.
Beyond the financing in health, there is the access to quality medicines, there's the information systems, there's the health workers that need to be there. So fast forward to where we are now, and they still have an amorphous pool. Am I standing at the right place? Stand here. Amorphous pool of doctors for employment who should be moving to work in the counties, and then from here, move to training. But because this bubble has been growing, as you can see, this bubble is not growing. payrolls are held in the county, what is the ratio of development to recurrent? 70 to 30. Where is payroll, development or recurrent? Recurrent. So can this pool, in theory, continue growing? If you have money for 100 doctors, you have money for 100 doctors. So if they all go away to school, they go to Nairobi and to Eldoret and to abroad, then you have fewer and fewer working in there. Bomet's payroll has 80 doctors, but only 24 are in the county. The rest are serving other governors for free. This is Machakos, has 196 doctors in their payroll. Aren't they doing well? They've hired doctors, no? But where are the doctors? Are we seeing how we are basically structured, unfortunately, to propagate inequity?
I think a lot should be done. When you go to the county dispensaries and the county health facilities, you find that health workers there, they are not enough. You still find gap in the health department.
Kwangu mimi naona kama NHIF iniridhishi sana, kwa sababu ukifika kama hospitali ukiwa na hiyo NHIF kuna some services unapewa na NHIF na kuna zingine wanakataa. For example, saa zingine ukitaka kwenda mambo ya macho ama meno wana discriminate, wanasema NHIF haifanyi. So tulikuwa tunauliza kwa sababu hiyo NHIF tulikuwa tunaona kama inaweza saidia, lakini ikifika wanakuambia services hii unaweza fanyiwa na hii haufanyiwi. Hiyo haitufurahisha kwa sababu ukiona hiyo 500 per month ni pesa mingi kwa common mwananchi. Hiyo pesa kutoa mtu atakuwa amechikakamua na shida zingine nyingi yenye ako nazo.
We have the key constraint that resources are limited. So within the health sector, you will always have more healthcare needs than the resources that are available to provide for those healthcare needs.
One thing that the Health Act 2017 indicates is that level 1 to level 5 hospitals with different kind of naming, primary healthcare to, and so on, dispensaries, whatever language you're familiar with, are under counties, okay? And level 6 under the national government. But, as you know, level 5 hospitals are funded by the national government. Okay, so we're saying, well, the law is telling us what everyone is supposed to do. It's not always very clear.
Fair financing is a very important basic principle of universal health coverage, and it really means that people contribute or make payments to the health system according to their ability to pay, which means that people that are very, very poor obviously can only make smaller contributions, smaller payments.
It is important that the health system reduces its reliance on out-of-pocket payments. So we have to try as much as possible and move away from requiring Kenyans to pay directly to a health facility. We have to remove barriers for the vulnerable. So we have to ask ourselves, who are the vulnerable in our society? Is it the women? Is it the children? Is it the elderly? Is it the disabled? And so on. What barriers do they face, and how can we break down those barriers? And then we have to strengthen accountability structures to ensure that we minimize discrimination in facilities.
Devolution, we actually had made quite a few gains in the health sector, including flow of funds directly to the front line, directly to the facility. So the facility could purchase what they need, they could hire who they need. If they need a car roll, they hire a car roll. If they need fuel for cooking, they buy that.
People to have improved health being, we have to target health rather than just healthcare.
The county is supposed to be doing the right thing, and some of them have made an effort, and you'll see in this document. There are actually some counties where you have more specialists than you have general practitioners, but they'll come back now as specialists. The surgeon will not see people in outpatient. The obstetrician will not see people in pediatrics. So you have doctors, in theory. You have propagated equity, efficiently or not. So in health economics, we have this struggle, or rather we call it a trade-off, between efficiency and equity. And it's not believed you can achieve one and the other at the same time. Every time you achieve efficiency, it is believed you give up equity. This is a situation in which, in the pursuit of equity, we have lost both equity and efficiency.